Alex, hello. Can you hear us?
I can indeed. How are you?
Right. Hello. Yes, good afternoon. We are ready to begin if you want to start us out.
Am I still the reigning president? Okay, until Travis is. Here we go. I'd like to call the meeting of the Measure D Citizens Oversight Committee to order, please. May I please have a roll call?
Joseph Emilio.
Here.
Travis Long.
Here.
Gary Miller.
Here.
Alex Lorca is absent. Alex Lorca is online.
On Zoom.
On Zoom. And who else do we have?
That's all we have for tonight. Today.
Okay, that is our roll call.
Thank you very much. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll move to adopt the agenda.
Is there a
I'll second.
Very good. If everybody in favor could signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. In the past, I have read this legal statement, which I'm happy to do here. Members of the audience who wish to address the Citizens Oversight Committee will be called when the item is reached on the agenda. For non-agenda items, during the public comments. State law prohibits the Citizens Oversight Committee from taking any action on or discussing items that are not posted on the agenda except to A, briefly respond to statements made or questions posed by the public in attendance, B, ask questions for clarification, C, provide a reference to a staff member or other resource for factual information in response to the inquiry, or D, ask a staff member to report back on the matter at the next meeting and or put it on a future agenda. I don't see, I think staff can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this would be the moment to have general public comment as the rest of the agenda has. I don't see it elsewhere. So with that, I'll call for public comment with respect to matters not on the agenda, but within the subject matter jurisdiction of the committee. Seeing none, we'll close public comment and move to item number 5, review and approve minutes from the March 28th, 2024 meeting. I don't know, does anybody have any additions, edits, or corrections to that on the board? I'll go to public comment for the same. Any additions, modifications, or otherwise tweaks to the March 28th, 2024 meeting minutes? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adopt those minutes.
I'll make a motion to adopt the minutes.
I have a first, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Attaboy, Travis. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, the minutes are adopted. Item number 6, public comments on the 2014 election measure A education technology bond series C funding. Do I have any public comments on item 6? Seeing none, I'll close public comment on that item and ask for the same on the 2020 election measure D facilities bond series A funding. Do I have any public comment on agenda item number 7? Hearing none, I will close public comment on that. And now we are on to item 8, election of officers. Does staff want to lead us through this, or what's the pleasure of staff? I'm sorry, I can't hear you through your microphone.
Director Anderson is going to speak.
Hi, it's Director Anderson. So for this, what we're looking for, of course, is for with a new term, we would like to see a new chair and vice chair. It's actually per the California Association of Board Oversight Committees, it's actually the board itself would be voting this in. Mm-hmm. So I guess it's a vote amongst yourselves as to who would you like to have as a chair and a vice chair.
And could I ask staff, there are how many seats on the board? We have a quorum here, I'm assuming, since we're meeting.
Technically, there is 7.
Mhm.
And we don't actually follow the Brown Act.
Oh, okay.
So we're not bound by that. So 4 out of 7 would be in a majority. So if you're all
So,
agreed, it would be
ah.
possible today to select a chair and a vice chair.
Well, if it's true what they say, those at the table are on the menu. I will leave it to my fellow board members to perhaps nominate one of themselves, one other, or someone not in attendance for the board chairpersonship.
It probably should be noted, since you're currently the chair. And is this your first term at chair, Alex?
I don't believe it's my first. I think it's my second.
Yeah, so I think at this point we probably need a new chairperson. I think I can't remember exactly if it's 2 or 3 terms that you could actually be the chair, but.
All
Okay.
right, well, twist my arm. Okay, and we have someone else joining here. I don't know if we have Metin. I'm not sure. Is he on the board? Or
No, he's not.
He's just observing. Okay, very good. So with that, my fellow board members, I'll entertain nomination of a chairperson for the current term. I see fingers.
No, I don't.
Sure. I'll be the chair.
Mr.
Joe
Amelia,
Emilio.
thank you very much. So with that, I will entertain a vote to appoint Mr. Emilio as board chair for the current term. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we appoint Joe as the chair.
All right, in a second?
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No, okay, motion carries. So, Mr. Emilio, if I was there in person, I would personally hand you the gavel, but seeing that I'm here, I will hand you the virtual gavel to finish out the meeting.
Okay. I get an official gavel, huh? Okay. Okay, finish up the meeting. Let's see, review of board term limits.
Actually, vice chair now.
Oh, vice chair. Okay,
Vice
let's hear nomination for board vice chair.
Second,
Oh.
I second the finger point.
Okay. So Travis is the chair, vice chair. Okay. Do we need a motion on that? I'll make a motion on to appoint Travis as vice chair.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Done with that.
Yep.
Now, we did review of board term limits. Did we do that one already?
No, so what I wanted to bring to the attention of the CBOC board is that there's state statute that allows for 3 consecutive terms of 2 years each. Currently, the way the board is set up, you're set up for 2 consecutive years of 2 years each. However, the California Board of Citizens Bond Oversight Committees suggest that most boards should follow in line with the state statute and not actually defer from that. So what we're asking you to do is to actually just fall in line with the state requirement. And so staff is asking the board to consider 3 consecutive years of 2 years each. Because if we don't, all of you that have already been on for 2 years, would not allowed to be on the board anymore. So we're asking you to go ahead and adopt the state statute, which is 3 consecutive years of 2 years each, which would allow for 6 years on the board.
Okay. Are there any comments in regards to that comment? And going out to the public, are there any comments on what was discussed on 3 2-year terms? Total of 6 years, am I correct?
Yeah, total of 6 years.
No public comment? Let's move to adopt that. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make
So
a
moved.
motion to move to 3 2-year terms.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Move on to the next one.
That's my presentation.
Oh, okay. And then number 10 is John Anderson, Director of Maintenance, Operations and Transportation. Presentation of the summer 2024 projects and the presentation of the 2023-24 Measure D projects.
Okay, so as soon as you bring it up here. All right, so this is my first slide. Obviously, Measure D summer projects for 2024. Those are the projects that are either underway or soon to be underway for this coming year. So one of the first items is at the high school is we have the modular building removal. I don't know if you've been to the high school lately, but there's been a abandoned modular building that has been on the site now for about 26 years. It's definitely way past its prime and is not rebuildable. The good news about this particular item is I had enough savings by going out to bid on other jobs that we're essentially we're not getting this done for free, but I'm using the savings from the other projects to have this removed. The school board has already approved it, the contract, and this will be underway this summer. Here I also have a photograph of the gym floor and some of the conditions that are existing there. It's been many, many years since it was originally refinished. And there's about 24 spots that need wood repair. Like you can see from the photograph, we got some really bad spots there, and I'm afraid those are going to be tripping hazards for our athletes. So we're getting that floor refinished, and then we're moving on with the second phase of roofing, painting, and new gutters. We'll be doing building E as an elephant, building H and G, which are the library and the connecting building at the library. We're skipping F this year because there's some structural concerns there. It's not like the building's going to fall down. There's just some termite damage that needs to be repaired. It's a little extensive, and therefore we're going to have an architect and engineer work on that and run that through DSA. So we're not quite ready to do that this year. So it might look a little funny if you go there. We'll be skipping one building, but there's a reason. We're going to do some sidewalk repairs. There's a couple of decent trip hazards we want to alleviate. And then at the sewer lateral at building K and L, there's a little bit of a collapse there that we need to have dug up and repaired. And then we're going to get new bathroom partitions in many of the restrooms at the high school, which is a very hot topic. Okay, Forest Grove Elementary. We're going on with the second and final phase of the original buildings at the school. The original 5 buildings we did, actually the original 6 buildings, we did 3 last year. We're going to do 3 more this year. It's buildings B, C, and D. Those will be getting the liquid applied roof coating, which is a Title 24 roof coating. That has a renewable guarantee that lasts 40 years, and you could recoat it in 10-year intervals and extend the guarantee. So it's a really nice warranted roof. With that, we're also going to be cutting back the edge of the fascia boards and installing actual gutters rather than the type of gutter there. It's called a Dutch gutter system now. We're going to remove that and go with the typical gutter. And the beauty about cutting off that edge is it's going to remove all the wood rot when we go to a typical gutter system there. And then our agreement with the ABM group, we're going to be replacing all of the furnaces in the entire Forest Grove area, the campus, and most of the what are called barred units or the wall-mounted units on the modular buildings. And those HVAC units are both heating and air conditioning. We're getting new campus signage. And if I can get one ordered in time, we're going to have a new swing set there too. It'll be right now we currently had a modifier swing set down to 2 because the laws changed. So we want to get that back up to 4 swings. And we also want to put in one of those swings to be an adaptive swing set for our special education students. Okay, next slide. Pacific Grove Middle School, exciting things happening there. So we're not quite ready to put a roof on there, but I did want to get paint on the building because it's in pretty bad shape. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the exterior painting on building A, B, and E. That's 3 of the buildings there. So it's about half the campus. They're the worst of the buildings, and we really need to get paint on before they get much worse. We will not, if you look at the picture here, the eave and overhang, there's also a considerable amount of wood rot there that needs to be taken care of along with the roof repair. So we'll only be painting the exterior but not the eave or overhang this year. So next year, when we do the roof repair, we'll paint the other part of it. It just makes more sense to paint it after it's repaired. The beautiful Pacific Grove Middle School Performing Arts Center is going to get new curtains finally. They've been wanting those for years. I got several estimates and finally came back with a number that I really like. So we're going to have that done. That's another savings for us, and also it'll bring those up to fire code. They're right at the tail end of their shelf life, so they need to be replaced now. Stage repairs. So we'll be sanding and filling in and painting the stage black like most stages are these days. At one point in time, there was a talk about putting a light coated finish on it, which would have been highly reflective and not good for stage performances. So we're going to go with the modern stage paint. And we see the bathroom partitions in the gym bathrooms, and that's a much coveted thing at the middle school as well. The gym floor there will also be refinished. Currently, the striping on the gym floor are vinyl, and unfortunately they're peeling. So we need to make that safe as well. And so we'll be putting painted striping on this time. And then there's one parking lot that's right off of Forest Avenue. It's quite degraded. And so that cannot go another year without us getting that resurfaced. So that's going to be resurfaced as well. Now we'll move on to Robert Down. So again, more new campus signage. Right now we have the fire alarm system upgrades in engineering with a firm. They're designing a upgraded system that will meet current code. Also get us to cellular dialers and get us off the old plain old telephone lines that are failing regularly. We'll be replacing the flooring in the west hallway. Several years ago, they put in a linoleum floor on the other side, and it's nice, but we're going to go with a luxury vinyl plank flooring, which has a very good wear thing. It's also a floating floor, so that like how this floor is all cracked up and everything. The floor that I put in like at our BSRP room over at Forest Grove, and actually we put a little bit of it in here in the district office. It's a very high wear floor. We should get probably 20 to 40 years out of it, depending on how much activity it gets, rather than a linoleum floor that might last 15. And then we're also, if you notice in this photograph, we have a historic problem at Forest Grove with a lot of groundwater issues. That after the rainy season, the water starts pouring out of the upper lawn area to where the roadway where Spruce Road used to pass through. And now it's just a messy, muddy algae mess that's got to go away. So I had an engineer design a plan for that last year, and we're executing that work this year, which will entail like kind of a French drain and a gutter system that's going to redirect all that water into a storm drain. And then also we'll be putting in a swing set at that school, which will also contain an adaptive swing. And lastly, this is for your benefit. This is all the work that we're doing this summer in basically a quick one-shot spreadsheet here for you. I have the dollar figures, original contract values. I have the procurement process that we used, title, our project tracking numbers, and a lot of work, and we're excited to get it done. This is you can see this is a little over $7 million worth of work this year that we're having underway. I doubt all of it will be 100% complete by the end of summer, but this work will continue throughout the year until we do get it to completion. Okay. Open for comments or questions.
Why don't we go out to public comment first? Are there anybody online? Nobody? Okay, let's bring it back to the board. Any questions?
No.
I have a couple of questions. Thank you very much for the presentation. Excellent. This will be all done overnight, correct?
A blink of the eye.
The first picture you showed with like an abandoned portable.
Yes.
I'm assuming that's not being used anymore, and
that building has not been occupied to my knowledge for like the last 4 or 5 years.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's what happens with a lot of those portable buildings is
Oh, yeah.
they're metal based, and we live in a very high an ocean mist area, and they just rust to pieces. So, you know, in a regular schools, someplace out in the valley or something, those might last 30, 40 years. Around here, they do not. They do
Yeah.
not meet their life expectancy.
No problem. Just thank you for that
Welcome.
presentation.
The-
Do you have any?
There's one thing I omitted that I'd like to add, sorry. With a lot of the work that's going on with the HVAC work, we have hired an independent DSA inspector. It's not required. Most of these projects are DSA exempt. However, we thought it prudent to hire an inspector anyways to make sure that everything was documented and inspected.
Sure.
Just for our safety of our students.
I'm just kind of wondering, really long term, you know, is there a vision for down the road? Like, will these, you know, schools ever be rebuilt? You know, I mean, is there an end of life? I mean, how long was the span they were actually built for? You know, I mean, they're already, I think what, Forest Grove's maybe like 70 something years old. I don't know how Robert Down's probably even older, and
Yeah, I think Robert Down's well over 100 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, the main building.
it was probably built better back then.
Yeah, well, to a certain degree, yeah, and it's redwood and nominal lumber and all that stuff, yeah, but it doesn't have quite the seismic things we'd like to see, although I've been up in the attic and I see there's been some seismic retrofitting over the years, so some people have been paying attention at some point in time. The assistant superintendent and I have had discussions about the way to go forward with how do we get new buildings. There is a kind of a project type thing that's happening with other schools nowadays where they have modular buildings and they call it modular to permanent. So that's an idea we're kicking around. It's really hard to take down a building that actually has really good bones, like we have at the high school in Forest Grove. However, everywhere we have a modular building, it's probably a good idea to look into not going back with a modular that we get 30 years out of and build a real building that we'll get 100 years out of. So that's the idea going forward. However, that's unfortunately not part of Measure D at this time. Yeah.
Right. But I guess at some point, you know, you can't just keep kicking a can down the road. Eventually, you probably have to replace the buildings in their entirety.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
would think.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay, are there any more questions? Let's see, this is a presentation, so doesn't tell us to take any action on it. So
No action, information only.
information only, and appreciate the presentation, really do. So the next one is Matthew Binder, sorry about that, Director of Educational Technology.
Good afternoon, Matthew Binder, Director of Ed Tech for the district, and I'm here Director Algazi is going to join me most likely for this presentation since we work as a team to manage all the district's technology. Wanted to give you a general kind of update as to what we've been doing with the Measure A Ed Tech bond funds, at least for the last year or so. There are several projects that predate this update, but just moving forward, you'll know kind of the direction that the district's headed as far as how those dollars are being used. So we do have a full cross-functional team of 8 folks who assist us with managing all the district's technology. Most of them are at the sites. We have an individual IT tech at each of the schools. Their names are listed there. And then it's myself, Director Algazi, and my ed tech partner who does the digital learning side of the curriculum for the district. His name is Mr. Andrew Bradley. There you go. Thank you. So a couple of more notable projects completed this past year. We've got them there listed. Lewis is going to talk a little bit about the cybersecurity. You've heard a little bit about already the Flex Lab conversions that are taking place. We call these kind of transformations of old computer lab models to the new kind of Flex Tech Lab configurations. And then we have a data driven project that involves student information that we pull together and package up some real-time visualizations for our end users across the district, anyone who's using the student information system. So, Lewis, you want to talk a little bit about cybersecurity as what's going on there?
So these are kind of 3 of the big cybersecurity initiatives. Network segmentation. What it does is it puts different types of devices in different VLANs. Basically, I don't know how technical people are, but it groups devices so they are better protected from each other. If one device got a virus, ideally it wouldn't spread to the other devices in the other group. Along with that, we also allowed PGUSD devices to automatically join the network. Previously, students would have to log in with their Google credentials to access the network. Now, with any device that's owned by PGUSD, just automatically gets on. Network availability, failover, DNS and DHCP servers are mission critical servers. If we don't have a DHCP or DNS server online on the network, no one can get anywhere. What I did is previously we had two computers at the middle school acting as DNS and DHCP servers. What I've done is I've stood up a new one with an upgraded operating system, as well as stood up a failover at MCOE. They're our internet service provider. So if our server goes down, everyone can continue working using the MCOE server. And if the MCOE server goes down, they can continue to work using our server. Finally, antivirus. We purchased a next generation antivirus called CrowdStrike, and it's managed through MSISAC. They do CrowdStrike is an EDR, endpoint detect response software, and MSISAC acts as our MDR, which is a manage detect response. So if our software flags some virus or some bad code on the computer, they're the first ones to respond, even if it's in the middle of the night. And then they do what they can to protect it. And then whatever they can't do, they contact me and I take care of the next morning, kind of thing. And I wanted that so I don't have to be up in the middle of the night dealing with any issues.
We spent a lot of time putting together data reports for our administrators, our teachers, some of our classified staff that support student intervention services. These are real-time reports that are fed into a dashboard that allow these folks to make actionable decisions using student information, assessment data, attendance data, behavioral interventions. And so a lot of our work today that we're going to be focused on for the next year is going to depend on a lot of these visualizations. So this is our analytics project that was launched this year and will continue next year. And then, of course, we've got really our signature project that is most notable because it's just an incredible transformation that took place. And with the help of Director Anderson and his team with buildings and grounds and transportation, we were able to take the long decommissioned wood shop over at the middle school and convert it, really process an entire conversion into what we call Flex Lab, Flex Technology Enhanced Learning Space for project-based hands-on learning of technology-infused concepts, 3D design, printing, manufacturing, kind of like maker space and STEM-related topics that students are going to be using this space to learn greater depth of. You can see the kind of the process that took place. A lot of this involved coordinating some of the subcontractors, the painters. A lot of the guys did a lot of the work in-house as far as the floor reconditioning. We ordered new furniture, new technology, including laser cutters, 3D printers, podcast production kits. So we've got a lot going on there, including bringing down some of our students from the upper grade levels over at community high school, which is our continuation high school, and having them utilize the space as well. Our middle school technology essentials and technology engineering design elective courses take their students into this space. And we are looking forward to next year of bringing students from the elementary together for the elementary robotics program and the STEM night that occurs at the elementary level. So it's a fantastic upgrade to the campus over at the middle school. And a lot of this work was, I got to give credit where credit's due, was inspired by some of the ideas that Mr. Andrew Bradley brings to the team. He's our digital learning teacher, and he works with students at the elementary level on digital curriculum, computer science, and robotics, coding. And so students have a real opportunity to kind of gain some of those skills, and we look forward to those students coming up through the middle school and making use of that new flex learning space. So looking ahead, we'll wrap it up. We're continuing our rollout of technology enhancements and upgrades to the classrooms. We've got the elementary level pretty much dialed in. We're moving up to the secondary. That includes installing new interactive flat panel displays, enhanced classroom audio systems, new doc cams, new teacher devices. Speaking of which, we're going to move all of our teachers, the rollout is to put them on Chrome devices, moving them away from traditional Windows-based laptops. This is better for security. It's also been proven to be more efficient for their use of all of their applications and their instructional tools in the classroom. Then we're going to do a security camera upgrade, and we're going to look at a visitor management system with Measure A funding, so that folks who check in or visit the campus can check in at a kiosk, get an identified badge, get checked against a database of offenders, and just improve the security and safety for campus visits. We've got a lot of training that we're going to be rolling out every year. There's more and more software that teachers are being exposed to that they're going to be using in the classroom, whether it's digital curriculum platforms, supplemental assessment tools. It's all based on using platforms, online systems. So there's also training that goes along with that. So that's kind of the road ahead. All of this is brought to us as a district through our technology committee, which meets once a year throughout the school year. And it is comprised of folks from across the district, administration, teachers, some parents, classified staff. A group of about 12 to 14 of us make decisions, narrow down lists of expenditures that we present to the board for approval. How often do you meet? Once a month throughout the school year. So a good 10 times, 8 to 10 times. And this is all driven by the roadmap that we have in place, 3-year strategic technology implementation plan, which will be due for another revision next year. So we'll start some of that work probably on the second half of next school year.
Okay.
Thank you. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Just real quick, any public comment on this presentation? I don't hear anything. Okay. Back to the board. What do you, any comments?
Yeah.
I just thank you very much for the presentation. I just was wondering it's not part of the bond, but just curiosity. Do all students get to go through this classroom that's been converted from the wood shop?
So great question. We have one of these at each of the elementary levels. First and foremost, we've finished those projects last year. Robert Down was the first, and then Forest Grove, we finished up last year, and now the middle school has got one. So at the elementary level, yes, all students actually get a rotation through that environment throughout the year. At the middle school, most of the students will take an elective, a 6th grade rotation, and then a 7th grade or 8th grade elective that will touch on those topics that are covered and really facilitated by using that space. But because the nature of the environment, the flexible nature, we actually make it open to even science classes that need an extra, bit of square footage to complete a lab of some sort. They can go in and use that space as well. So and health classes for PE, they'll make use of that space. So it's conceivable that every student will have an opportunity to learn some subject matter in that environment at some point throughout their middle school years.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? Okay, thank you very much for that. Appreciate that. Let's move to, let's see, recap of the financial audit of Measure A and D.
So we actually went over this at the last quote unquote official, unofficial meeting that was trying to get the COBC restarted. So you all have probably had an opportunity to review this. I just thought it was important to actually cover it on a real meeting. It was really actually considering that we went almost 2 years without doing the things we should have done because of the turnover and things. We had a really, really good audit finding. Everything was pretty much in order. We had one little missed date in there and that was about it. So despite our shortcomings and the problems that and the hurdles we had to get over, everything was managed pretty well. There was an interim director and then I took over and had to catch up and we're back on target now. And it seems like things are firing on all pistons and all cylinders and we're ready to go. I don't know if anybody has any specific questions on that, or if I don't think it's really worthy of to go over it line by line, but if you'd like to, we can.
I don't know if there are any comments from the public on this. No comments, okay. Back to the board, any comments? No?
That's good news.
I looked over the last time, I think you sent this out, right?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did send it out last time and so I just thought it would be a good idea to
Sure.
recap and make sure there was no questions now that we're officially meeting and make sure that got in the notes that everybody's had a chance to look at it. Okay.
Thank you
Great.
very much. Let's move on to, let's see. Measure D, 5-year maintenance plan.
Okay, he's gonna see if we can bring it up.
Okay.
Yeah, 5-year deferred maintenance plan. Let's try it again. I'm gonna try to share it again, see what happened here. Share. Yeah. Work. Probably need to add you. There it goes. Okay. So one of the things that I thought was important to do is to kind of give you folks a vision of where I'm trying to head as we continue with Measure D. And so a 5-year plan for those things associated with deferred maintenance it's not, I don't see this as something that's absolutely restricting how we move forward. There'll always be hiccups and there might be things that come along that become more important. So this is more or less just a plan on how to move forward. It starts off with where we were and the work that we've done so far. Some of the work that was done by my predecessor and some of the work that I took on since I've gotten here. So I believe there's a copy in your packet and I just thought it was important for the public to see this. So I'd like to kind of scroll through it a little bit. This is where I came in last year with the 22-23 summer. I actually, in the summer of 22, I came in and finished a couple of projects that were already started. We actually accomplished quite a bit. Considering I literally walked in and had to start getting stuff out to bid from day one. So all those that have actual bolded numbers in year 1 and 2 of this 5-year plan, those are actual real dollar figures from work that's actually completed. Going forward with year 3, where we are now, those are approximate figures. And the good news is if you compare that in the 23-24 year with the actual projects we're doing, you could see that we actually, by going out to bid and using our CUPCA procurement, we're actually coming in under some of those anticipated numbers, which is really good news. And then moving ahead for next year, we could start to scale back a little bit. with some of the items, because we're going to see where the Measure D funding goes from that day forward. So anyways, I just thought this was a good read ahead for you folks to have a look at and, you know, be able to comment on and see if there's anything in there that the board may want to weigh in on.
Let's see, any public comment? Okay. Board, do you have any comments?
Here.
Okay. Thanks, John.
That's all I have then.
Okay. Let's see here. Okay, the presentation of the annual report to the Board
Yeah,
of
so
Education.
the annual report is something that the COBC board gives to our school board. And so I'm sure Alex can probably help you all out with that. And that's a once a year item. We need to get it to the board pretty soon. So this is where essentially you review all the documents and the projects completed thus far and make a report to the board.
Okay,
So we need to figure out a date that you'd want to bring that to the board. The next possible, the soonest date is June 18th, and their following would be July 9th. So you all would need to make a decision as to when you'd want to bring that report forward.
so let me.
I was just gonna say, I believe in the past, well, last few years, Alex, I think, have you mainly, you used to write that when you were president and just deliver it? Or can you, I don't know, provide any more background on that for us?
Yeah, so that's presentation to the full board about the recommendations of this body. So Mr. Emilio, I think you need to just figure out if you were available on the 18th or the 9th, and usually staff's really good about sort of helping prep you for that presentation to the trustees.
June 18th or July 9th. No, July 9th I will not be available. So the 18th would probably be it for me.
In the past, it's been the chair that's been the one to attend the meeting with
Okay,
the school board meeting.
I don't have a problem attending the meeting, but I need to know what to say.
We'll definitely help you with that.
You ask me tomorrow night, I'll know what to say with city council, but I need to know what, so will Alex, or who will prep me on this?
I'm sure Alex could probably help you since he's done it at least twice in the past.
Okay,
And he'd probably be your best bet. I've never presented to the board that type of report. I'm used to these kind of presentations, so I think
I
it's
would be
usually
happy
pretty
to.
straightforward.
I'd be happy to, and I'll get in touch with you, Mr. Emilio, and we can set up a time to go over it.
okay, great. That's super. Alex, and then I'm sure you probably have my email, but it's under Joseph.Emilio, AMELIO @yahoo.com. And then I have no problem with my cell number. It's on my business card, 408.
You might want to, since this is recorded, you
Okay.
might not want to give out all your public information.
It's okay.
Okay.
Okay, my email's that, and maybe we can make contact that way, Alex.
Very good. I'll send you an email.
Okay, great. Thanks. Thursday on will be perfect, not
Okay.
tomorrow. Okay. let's
Last
see.
item.
Next item is to schedule the next meeting.
Now, I do have a comment here. So on our website, it said that the board, the CBOC would meet monthly.
Oh,
Most, just for your information, most CBOCs meet once or twice a year. So another bylaw you might want to think about when you schedule meetings. That's all.
okay. Well, what's the pleasure of the board? In other words, you're saying normally we meet once or twice a year?
Most citizen bond oversight committees will at most meet once to 2 times a year. For whatever reason on our website, it says that you meet monthly, which I don't think has ever actually been the case.
No, I think
Yeah.
we met once a year for the last few years, didn't we, Alex?
That's correct.
Well, I'm good for no meetings.
What was
so
the normal
I would-
time frame that we normally met in? You,
I think it was about this time frame in the sense that we, as we prepare to
yeah, a
review
few weeks before. That's
everything
right.
a few weeks before usually makes sense. It's fresh in everyone's mind and we have all the information from staff in order to make our decision.
Yeah. So about this time next year, maybe.
Yeah. We
Yep.
could, let's see, June. Should we look at
I actually
January.
think historically it's been March timeframe.
March?
I think historically you met in March. That way you got to review what we were planning to do for the summer and also be able to have that to report to the board.
I just need to see about, you're saying 2025
Right.
in January
For March.
or March? Okay, hold on for a second. Okay.
And it's a far time out and, in the past, staff has worked with us as we got closer to that time frame to nail down a specific date.
Staff would work, I'm sorry, Alex, what did you say?
I'm sorry to interrupt. Yeah, so because schedules change and it's pretty far out in the past, sort of in the new year type timeframe, staff's reached out to set the March timeframe meeting as we got closer. That way we could ensure we have a quorum and everyone's here.
Okay.
Sounds like a good idea.
Maybe Michelle, you could reach out again in January.
So
Okay.
shall we just say that March of
Yeah.
2025,
Yeah,
the month
Yeah.
of March?
I was gonna
Okay.
say the Ides of March, but I'm
The
not
Ides of
sure
March.
about.
Me too.
Uh, Yeah. Yeah, the Ides is March 15th. That's Saturday, so we don't want to meet a Saturday. Anyway. Michelle, you reach out to us or and pick another date.
We'll put it on the calendar to reach out in probably the February timeframes so that
Okay.
you'll be ready for March.
Great.
Sound good? Yeah. Great.
Okay. So that's it. The motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second that.
Okay. Sure. All those in favor? Aye.
Hi,
Aye.
Thank you very much.
thank you all.
Bye-bye. Yeah. Oh, yeah.